Okay, well, good morning. Welcome to the Sedgwick County Commission meeting today. We're delighted that you're joining us, those joining us online on Facebook and YouTube, and all you wonderful people joining us here in person. We're glad that you're here today. As we like to encourage you and remind you, when you walked in today, you could have picked up a meeting agenda packet. We encourage you to follow along with the meeting. If you're ever curious about any of the supporting documentation that the commissioners are reviewing as we make decisions on each of these items, you can always access that at sedgwickcounty.gov. We encourage you to go in and take a peek at that. A couple hundred pages of wonderful information that will help you understand the decisions that we're making today. So we've got a great proclamation, some good business to talk through, and a quarterly financial report I see. So I'm excited about that. So let's get to work. I'll call this meeting to order for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Madam Clerk, first item, please.
Invocation to be led by Pastor Mark Cawthon, Evangel Church. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, commissioners, for all you do. Your friends at Evangel are praying for you, believing in you, and thank you for all your good work. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, thank you so much, first of all, for your presence, for your goodness, your grace. God, we love you so much, and we're thankful for this day that we have, that you've given to us, God, and just can't thank you enough for it. Now, as we come to this place and this meeting today, I pray that your presence would fill this room. We seek wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and I pray your Holy Spirit would come and give that when needed. Lord, let us lean into you in all things, God, because we love you so much and acknowledge you in everything. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, thank you, sir. Give our best to everybody at Evangel. We appreciate you being here today. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Roll call. Commissioner Blubaugh.
Present.
Commissioner Wise.
Present.
Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Present.
Chairman Beatty.
Present. Next item, please.
County announcements.
Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Nicole Gibbs of Strategic Communications. We're going to start out today with an update from Director of Health, Adrian Byrne, on WIC.
Hi, Adrian. Welcome.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Before I give the update on WIC, I'd like to explain a little bit about the differences between SNAP and WIC, because there is a lot of confusion about it, and if they're one and the same, and if funding for one affects the other, which it does not. So both WIC, and WIC is Women, Infant, and Children, and SNAP is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Both are funded through the United States Department of Agriculture. WIC flows through the State Health Department, and then we administer that at the Sedgwick County Health Department, where SNAP is administered by Kansas Department for Children and Families. So even though they're funded by the same on the same federal level, with SNAP being funded currently at 50%, that is the goal that we're all hearing in the news for recipients. WIC services are not disrupted at all at this point, and the eligibility for both is very different. For WIC services, the woman needs to be pregnant, breastfeeding, or recently having given birth, or children under the age of 5 have to be at 185% of the federal poverty level or lower. And for SNAP, one has to be employed but earning a lower wage, or be seeking employment, or disabled to be potentially eligible for these services. So again, they are different programs, and whether or not SNAP is funded, WIC continues to be at this point. We have weekly meetings with KDHE, Kansas Department of Health and Environment, to get updates, and they are in constant communication with USDA on continued funding. So at this point, again, anyone that is involved with WIC, please keep your November appointments and use your card as usual to buy those healthy foods.
Okay. Very helpful. I appreciate that update. This is some of the conversation we've been having for about a month now about making sure the public's aware of WIC and what we do through the health department of Sedgwick County and how these programs are continuing as planned right now. So, Commissioners, any questions for Adrian on this? I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Okay, we're pleased to announce that the Sedgwick County Treasurer has opened another tag office satellite location. Starting this week, residents can make an appointment for title work, renewals, lien releases, and more at Rustiac Ford, which is located at 7310 East Kellogg Drive. You'll find the office located in the parts department. We're getting that feedback now that sometimes it's a little hard to find. This is in addition to our main site on Douglas and our 5 other satellite locations, the Ruffin Building, Hayesville City Hall, Kansas Driver's Licensing in Derby, Wichita West Kansas Driver's Licensing, and Park City Hall. To make an appointment, visit sedgwickcounty.org/tag office. Sedgwick County is honored to once again participate in the Veterans Day Parade being held on Saturday, November 8th. The parade starts at 11 a.m. with the route beginning at Central and Main and ending at Exploration Place. Following the parade, there'll be a celebration and opportunity to meet parade participants, view vehicles and other displays, and more. We hope to see you there. Last but not least, Sedgwick County offices will be closed on Tuesday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. Emergency services, as always, are available by dialing or texting 911. And that's what I have for today.
Okay, wonderful updates. Appreciate that, Nicole. Commissioners, any questions? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Public agenda.
We did have one individual that has signed up for a public agenda to address the commission. We call your name, just come up here to the podium. Our friendly county clerk will give you 5 minutes and give you a little warning when the time expires. But if you can just give your name and address for the public record, we would appreciate it. Mr. Chuck Schmidt. Morning, Chuck.
Morning. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm here, my name is Chuck Schmidt, and I'm here to familiarize you with the Kansas Silver-Haired Legislature, and particularly the Silver-Haired Legislature delegation from this area. We are a nonpartisan advocacy organization that's statutory formed by the Kansas legislature in 1982. I've given you some information, so I won't go into a whole lot of that. I hope you'll look that over. Our mission is to identify and advocate for priority issues for senior Kansans, 60 and older. And there are approximately 640,000 Kansans in that age group from 60 and over, and that's the fastest growing group in Kansas. Unfortunately, I say that as one of the members of that group. Just to emphasize the nonpartisan part of our organization, I'm the Speaker Pro Tem. I'm a former Democratic representative, served with Commissioner Howell's wife for a time. Our previous Speaker of the House was a former Republican state senator from Salina. Our current floor leader is a is a Democratic former educator, and the assistant floor leader is a former longtime state senator in Missouri, who's now, of course, in Kansas, part of us. So we are a nonpartisan group. What we do is attend gatherings of seniors at the senior centers or wherever they gather and try to find out what the issues are that they're concerned about, and then we advocate for those issues in the state legislature and in state agencies. In fact, tomorrow we'll be at the Goddard Senior Center to listen to them. And then every fall in October, we hold a legislative session. This is done in the state capitol, generally in the House chamber, for 3 days. We weren't able to do it this year because they're remodeling the chamber right now, but we were in the capitol. We are a completely volunteer organization. Our delegates are elected by those seniors, and everybody is just volunteering. In fact, we have to pay $25 filing fee to run for office, and that's part of our funding source, as well as help from other counties. There are 11 planning service areas in Kansas, Area Agency on Aging, and we have 11 planning service areas for the Kansas Silver-Haired Legislature that coordinate and work with those planning service agencies. The one here is PSA 2, and it includes Sedgwick County, Butler County, and Harvey counties. The larger counties get 5 additional delegates. Every other county gets 1 delegate. So we have a total of 8 in our planning service area here. We want to thank the Sedgwick County Commission for your past donations, because most of our funding to operate comes from county donations and from the filing fees of our delegates. In the past, you've given us $500, and we appreciate that. We would like to ask for more. Just to give you an example, Johnson County annually donates $2,000 to their PSA, and if we could match that, since we're that same size of a county. But we can talk about that more later. The issues that we identified this year in our legislative session in October were as follows: property tax relief, transportation for seniors, legalization of medical cannabis, Medicaid expansion, and the preservation of Medicaid and SNAP benefits and voting rights. And so those were the issues that were debated. We had committee meetings and then voted on and determined to be the ones that we will advocate in the coming year with the state legislature and other legislative agencies. So I just want you to be aware that there is this organization here, and ask for your support, and I'm open for any questions you may have.
Well, Chuck, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate that, and we appreciate getting this update about the Kansas Silver-Haired Legislature. That's very intriguing, and I appreciate all the work you guys are doing. Commissioners, any questions or comments here? Before Chuck leaves, it's worth noting that Chuck Schmidt played on the Orange Bowl team from Kansas football, the 1968-1969 Orange Bowl champion KU Jayhawks. He shared a backfield with John Riggins and played with John Hadel, 2 NFL Hall of Famers. So just it's always important, Chuck, that when
Thank you.
we have greatness in our presence.
That's the game we lost on too many 12 men on the field. So if those of you old enough to remember that,
such as the law for Kansas football,
is not real strong. So.
Yes. Chuck, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file public comment. Second. A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Consideration of minutes, item A, regular meeting minutes of October 15th, 2025.
Okay, Commissioners, look at items A and B. All Commissioners were present during both of these meetings, so unless there's an objection, I'd like to combine both of these meeting minutes into one motion. Okay, any questions or comments on the meeting minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of October 15th and October 22nd, 2025.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner? Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Next item, please.
Proclamations, item C, proclamation declaring Gathered Strong Day.
Okay, a proclamation of Sedgwick County, Kansas, one I'm incredibly excited about sharing with you today. Whereas Gathered Strong was founded in 2020 with a mission to empower families through tools, relationships, and community support to enhance family and child well-being. And whereas over the past 5 years, Gathered Strong has tirelessly worked to make Sedgwick County a model community where children and families thrive, fostering measurable improvements in health, education, and stability. And whereas, through its community-driven initiatives, Gathered Strong has provided invaluable resources and support, strengthening family units and positively impacting the lives of countless individuals in Sedgwick County. And whereas the dedication of Gathered Strong's leadership, volunteers, and supporters has exemplified the spirit of collaboration and compassion, contributing to a stronger, more resilient community. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Chairman Ryan Beatty, and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim November 5th, 2025 as Gathered Strong Day, recognizing their 5 years of dedicated service to Sedgwick County and unwavering commitment to the well-being of its families and children. We encourage all residents to join in supporting its mission for a brighter future. Okay, Commissioners, you've heard that proclamation. I'll make a motion to approve it as read.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. And here to accept that proclamation on behalf of Gathered Strong is the Executive Director, superhero, Jay Hedrick. Thank you. Hi, Jay.
Hi. Thank you, Commissioners. Chairman Beatty. I can never say it normal, guys. I have to keep him humble. It's truly an honor to accept this proclamation on behalf of Gathered Strong and all of the incredible partners who make this work possible. Gathered began after a call to action from Judge Kevin Smith, who recognized the need for our community to come together differently around families in crisis. In response to that call, Dr. Rebecca Reddy joined, and under the leadership of our first executive director, Abby Dom, who should also be recognized as a superhero, foster parent, adoptive mom.
Yep.
The foundation for Gather Strong was built. Without their courage, conviction, and early leadership, we wouldn't be where we are today. At its heart, Gather Strong is built on 3 pillars: education, collaboration, and radical celebration. We believe that education is what helps us see families through a lens of strength and possibility. Collaboration is what turns good intentions into real impact. And radical celebration is what keeps us grounded in hope, reminding us to honor every small victory, because those moments matter deeply to the families we serve and the people who serve them. This collaborative spirit is what leads Gathered Strong Sedgwick County, our continuum of care for vulnerable children and families. More than 50 partners have joined us in our endeavors to create a stronger community. This work is centered on supporting those who care for our most vulnerable children and families, and that means making sure that every human helper, whether that's in a school, nonprofit, church, or government office, or more importantly, those who are their caregivers every single day in their home, has the right tools, the right training, and opportunities to practice new ways of working together. Much of what human helpers do is invisible. When things go well, it's often quiet. A family stabilized, a child safe at home, a crisis avoided. Those stories don't always make the headlines, but they're happening every single day because of this community has chosen to come together differently. We're changing the way human helpers connect and collaborate in Sedgwick County, and in doing so, we're changing what's possible for families. So, on behalf of all of us at Gathered Strong and Gathered Strong Sedgwick County, thank you for recognizing this work, for your partnership, and believing that together we can keep families safe, strong, and together.
That's good, Jay. Thank you. Okay, a couple questions and comments, because anytime we get a chance to talk about some of these issues with individuals that are directly in this space, I think it's important. Commissioners, any questions, any comments? Good, it's just me. To be completely transparent, was one of the founding members of the Gathered Board, so this is a personal venture for me as well to see all you here. Would you mind introducing some of the board members that are here today?
Yeah, I'm thankful to have 3 of my board members plus Chairman Beatty: Mike Crewell with Pyxis, Adon Grimaldo with Pyxis, and David Thorne with Lots of Things.
With Lots of Things, yeah. And I'll note that Mike Crewell and Adon, these are Pyxis, these are partners of ours through ComCare. They do a lot of work with a lot of the behavioral health challenged children that we have in this community. Incredible work. Jay, could you give some updates on where we're at with data on foster children in Sedgwick County right now?
Yeah. So in 3 years ago, we were a horde at the number of children that were in out-of-home placement and foster care, and it was around 1,306. The latest number that I've read is more like 1,494, and so going up continuously. Children are continuously being removed from their home and not living with their nuclear family, and then children are still having problems with finding placement sometimes when they are unfortunately not living with their family for whatever reason. And so stability continues to not be their situation all of the time. And then, as you can imagine, when you don't have stability, you don't know where you're going to sleep, what you're going to have for dinner, if you get to shower, or who's going to demand that you do something. Their behaviors aren't always magical. And so, unfortunately, they get the bad end of the stick both sides.
Yeah, and I think data, when people are aware of the data, I think it's alarming. It was for me 8 years ago when I heard the data that about 70% of the kids that enter into the foster care system will have a touch point with the criminal justice system. Only 45% graduate high school. And now we've learned that 1 out of 3 kids, if they age out of the foster care system, will end up homeless within 2 years. There was another data point about what's happening here in Sedgwick County now. Commissioner Al hosted a roundtable last week, phenomenal roundtable on Senate Bill 367. And Jay, you were there. We appreciate that. But Ember Hope was also there. That is our lead provider of foster care here in Sedgwick County. And they shared that every night, roughly 45 to 60 kids are what they would just simply label unable to place, meaning that they don't have a home to stay in. So these 45 to 60 kids a night. In the first 4 months of the fiscal year, there's been over 550 kids that they haven't been able to place into a home at night. They're sleeping in offices. Many of these are behavioral challenge kids. Many of these are the kids that Mike and Adon are dealing with. Many of these kids are JO crossover kids. We have a significant challenge. And what you said is that when children don't have stability, it creates incredible trauma, and this trauma leads to outcomes that are impacting our community and all the services and all the institutions in our community. I've continued to say that if we just simply focused on the foster care system, and that just laser sharp focus on the foster care system, reforming, adding supports, trying to keep children in the home with family supports before they enter the system, that we would have a significant turn in homelessness, mental health, and juvenile crime in this community if we just focused on just fixing the foster care system, which is quite a Herculean effort. But I got you. 3 years ago, we sat in a room and we talked about, well, what's happening in the homeless ecosystem with this continuum of care? They have a model there where there's one lead agency and they have all the connecting agencies around it, and they're resourcing one agency that's driving traffic, and they have people that are dealing with homelessness and mental health and substance use and housing and vouchers and veterans and on and on and on. It's not a perfect system in homelessness, but it's a collaborated system. And then we looked at the room at each other and says, the homeless or the foster care ecosystem doesn't have that. So we did something that we thought was revolutionary and groundbreaking, is we created something called the Continuum of Care for the Child and Family Well-Being. Can you give us an update on what happened after we said, let's create a continuum of care for these kids? Yeah. Where are we at with that?
It's very exciting. As I've worked in this industry for over 13 years now, and as wild as it may seem, not everyone talks well with each other or collaborates, or services don't always match the need, or people, humans are involved. So we were awarded, DCF put out an RFP, and we applied and were awarded the grant to run the Continuum of Care for Vulnerable Children and Families. And if you know me, I love collaboration, annoyingly so. And since then, we've had over 50 partners decide that they want to join in together. And since we've launched, we've seen direct results of agencies collaborating together, learning about each other, finding ways that they can connect, which could combat everyone's favorite topic of duplicative services that we're paying twice for and things like that. And then amazing opportunities to bring everyone together, or those who would like to join us, in the rooms surrounding topics such as youth aging out of foster care or vulnerable to that same situation, because as we know, there's youth who are facing the same realities as youth who are aging out of foster care: instability of housing, mental health services, lots of different things. The gathering of the faith community under the Care for Every Family Action Team, so helping the church or faith communities get involved at one local place so they don't have to wonder kind of what's going on. And then our prevention partners is our next action team that we're really getting up and moving, and really bringing all of those prevention partners to the table so that we can speak the same language, understand the same assessments, so that families are receiving the appropriate services as well, not just maybe what a judge has ordered them to or what the standing court orders are for certain things, but making sure that families are receiving intentional, appropriate services matched to their actual need. And then some really exciting things of a demonstration project with Stanley Elementary and bringing the continuum of care into the school and matching the needs right there immediately with the families. And we can't call it a pilot feel it because it's already happening, and they're already seeing goodness happening, and families getting matched to services or deferred and not. There wasn't a need to make a report to DCF, which then could potentially lead to the children being removed from the home. And looking at it from a different lens, it does take some collaboration. It does take some patience. It does take someone who's wild enough to think, lots of someone's, that we can do it together. But we see it happening all of the time, and that's the way to do it.
That is the way to do it. Commissioner Meinstein.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and appreciate a well-deserved proclamation. And I just want to applaud also that, all as commissioners, we each have our own lane of traffic, our own passion. But Commissioner Howell, I want to applaud him for his years since I've been around, his years of a heartfelt. He's got a lot of passion towards juveniles and the youth. And what you've done recently is great, and obviously Chairman Beatty as well being involved. But Chairman Beatty grabbed myself and Rusty Leeds, assistant manager, and Steve Stonehouse, who runs our community corrections, which the juveniles fall under. Anyway, we had a chance to visit with Chief Judge. Who's the Chief Judge at the juvenile? Macias and Judge Jackie Kelly over there at the center, and had an incredible discussion about the court system and what they do, and we got to exchange a lot of information. But one thing that was kind of telling was when we proposed the question, or it came up of, I think they both, Jackie Kelly and Judge, said that maybe 60% of the juveniles that come in front of them have some kind of a history of mental disorder, substance abuse, whatever their background is that got them in those characters, and which. So we all are worried about substance abuse in our mental health world, and it really impacts the criminal justice side of the juveniles. And they complimented Pixius, Mike, you guys for what you do. It's all in this circle of togetherness, that continuum of care, I guess is the word. But it's really something that I'm glad to feel momentum going in a positive way. Hopefully we'll make a difference, but it's a little scary and very concerning. So just want to thank you all for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Howe.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. I probably can't add much to the conversation. I just want to say thank you for your leadership and for the others that make up the Gather organization. And I congratulate you on 5 years of dedicated service. This is a big milestone. This community is better because of what you do. The need is huge. I think one of our greatest opportunities in this community is to rise up people to be aware of the needs of these children, and to have services that make sense. And you guys are a big part of that. So I do want to say, both Chairman and Commissioner Meister have reflected a little bit on the meeting we had last week, and it was a great meeting. But you were there, and you had some incredibly important comments to make. The focus on that meeting was to focus on the juvenile offender part of our population. And one thing that's happening in Kansas right now, I'm looking at Chuck right now. You may have been there when this happened, but when Senate Bill 367 was passed in 2016, I believe it was well-intentioned, and most of that bill, I think, had a very positive impact on youth. But there was a part of it that really kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. You have some juvenile offenders that we don't really have a system in place to help some of these kids where they are, and unfortunately these kids have been dumped onto on the DCF side, the SYNC side, where there's children over there that have been abused and neglected, and the juvenile offenders are being treated on that side of the state services because we don't have anything that makes sense on the juvenile offender side. So these kids have been commingled. A lot of the problems that Ember Hope is having and DEC is having right now is because kids that really belong to be handled on the juvenile offender side have been handed over to the DCF side, and really we need to have some separation there. We need to have consequences for kids' behavior that are doing criminogenic behavior. Needs to have appropriate consequences, and 367 unfortunately has reduced those consequences to the point that were no longer effective. And so we need to speak up. We need to address this imbalance of our state. Right now, what we're seeing is a consequence of a decade of let's just say nonsensical response to criminal behavior, and unfortunately, the foster kids and our agencies trying to help foster kids have had to deal with the consequences of our state not doing what would be more sensible. So that meeting last week was great, and I think we made some progress. We do have House Bill. I'll just mention it again. House Bill 2329, which addresses, I think, 5 aspects of this problem. But your presence there was fantastic. You understand this better than almost anybody, and I'm just trying to keep up. And so it is a very important topic, and there's so many kids right now that need more of what Gathered provides. And so thank you for creating this organization. Thank you for your service to our community, and really the focus on loving kids where they are and helping kids any way you possibly can. Your leadership has been tremendous benefit for our community, and I want to just say thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Very kind. Commissioner, we're all trying to keep up with Jay, I promise. It's been hard. Thank you for your heart, your leadership, your passion, and big things are happening, and you're right in the middle of it. So you and the rest of the folks from Gathered Strong, thank you. Appreciate you. Okay? Why don't we take a 5-minute break real quick? We're going to run out front and take some pictures so that we can honor this proclamation, and we'll be back 5 minutes. Okay, thank you for giving us the grace to honor Gathered Strong and take a picture. And what a great proclamation with a great organization doing big work. Let's continue on with the business of the county. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Appointments.
Mr. Wagner, sir.
Yes, thank you, Justin Wagner, County Councilor. Item D is a resolution appointing Pablo CRUZ to the Sedgwick County 4th District Citizens Advisory Board as recommended by Chairman Beatty. The recommended action is to adopt the resolution.
Okay, Pablo is here right now. He'll meet Kelly Arnold over here. I'll make some comments after I make a motion. So this is my district and this is my advisory board, and I'm honored to have him. So I'm going to make the motion to appoint Pablo CRUZ to the Sedgwick County 4th District Citizens Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Blubow.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. And Pablo's here with our county clerk, Kelly Arnold.
All right, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Sedgwick County 4th District Citizens Advisory Board, so help me God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Make me a copy.
Pablo, welcome, man.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm honored to accept this appointment to the Sedgwick County District 4 Citizens Advisory Board. I want to thank Commissioner Beatty as well as all the commissioners this morning for the opportunity to serve in this new space. What I really value about the board is to serve as a bridge between community and the county commission. I'm here to listen, gather information, feedback, identify concern, and make sure that the voices of our residents are represented in decisions that shape our Sedgwick County's future. For me, public service has always been about connection, about building trust, about showing up and helping create solutions that make people's lives better. When we take the time to listen to one another, we don't just solve problems, we straighten our community. So I'm looking forward to working alongside fellow board members and residents across District 4 to make sure our county continues to grow in a way that is inclusive, thoughtful, and reflective of the people who call it home. So thank you.
Pablo, your voice at the table is going to be so big. Pablo is the executive director of the Kansas Hispanic and Development Foundation, and he's got a really unique story that we obviously don't have time to share today, but the most fascinating part of his history is not just where he's come from and when he moved here, but he was also a detective for the Wichita Police Department. And he actually, I don't know if it was an official task force of sorts, but he was the liaison with the Hispanic community, particularly in the North End and the Wichita Police Department. And he was like the community organizer in the North End, like everyone. And you gained so much trust from people in the North End of Wichita. You were the dude, man.
Thank you.
And you've continued that legacy and that liaison and that community activism, and you being at the table at this cab is going to be really, really important for us. So I'm grateful you're willing to serve.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm proud to be the executive director, and we're now helping students from high school all the way to job placement, so it's a 8 to 10 year impact. So the continued works, and this is what my passion and service to the community will always be part of my identity, so I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
Remarkable. Thanks, sir. Appreciate you being here, Pablo.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Wonderful guy. All right, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
New business, item E, presentation of the quarterly financial report.
Okay. We've got... There's Lorian. She's waiting for the traffic. There goes all my friends from Gathered. Lorian, welcome.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Lorian Showalter, Area Budget Director. I'm here to present the quarterly financial report for the third quarter of 2025, which covers the fiscal activities for the first 3 quarters of 2025 compared to the same time period in 2024. Of course, I do need to say thank you to our budget and accounting staff who do all of the hard work to produce this report. And just a reminder that this information is based on unaudited financial data and subject to minor adjustments when the annual audit is performed. So we'll begin by taking a look at our forecasted results across the organization. In our county property tax supported funds, which are the general fund, aging, highways, WSU, and bond and interest, that fund balance is estimated to decrease by $1.5 million. And this is due to some one-time planned expenses, such as the rough-in lease and the district court backlog that were previously paid by ARPA, and that final contractual payment to Exploration Place. In our non-property tax supported funds, those are estimated to increase by $5.9 million, and that's due to that increase in ComCare's reimbursement rate for their PPS1 Medicaid fees for CCBHC services. Fire District is estimated to decrease by $3.5 million, and that's due to projected transfer to the Fire District Special Equipment Fund at year end. We've been transferring into that fund for a number of years. We've been trying to build that fund balance up, and this year we think we can transfer about $4.5 million. And for enterprise and internal service funds, those are estimated to increase by $0.1 million due to projected increase in revenues in our work comp fund. So overall, we've had an increase in revenues over expenditures estimated of $1.1 million for an ending balance of $228 million. So we'll start with our county property tax supported funds. On this chart, the top line is revenues and the bottom line is expenditures. That increase in revenues of $14.3 million is primarily due to an increase in assessed valuation of 8.1% this year. Although the Commission did reduce the mill levy by about 0.4 mills, resulting in an increase of about 6.5% in our current property taxes through the third quarter. Our increase in expenditures was $21.9 million, and that's due to an increase in personnel costs countywide, and also those one-time costs that were previously paid by ARPA and that exploration place payment. Look at some of our key revenues in our county tax funds. That top line is those current taxes, that 6.5% increase. Investment income has increased 7% through the third quarter of 2025 as a result of some more strategic investment decisions. Sales and use taxes have increased in 7 of 9 months this year for an overall increase of 4.3%. And our motor vehicle taxes have increased 1.4% due to an increase in motor vehicle registration. So personnel makes up about half of our operating budget, and the Commission has worked really hard over the last few years to increase compensation. For 2025, an additional $30.5 million was added across the organization, and we've seen an increase in the number of positions filled, which is the reason why there are increases in salaries and wages and benefits. The decrease in turnover is also a reason why our overtime has decreased so far this year. For example, in the Sheriff's Office, they've had an 18.8% reduction in overtime this year, and at the end of September, their vacancy rate was only 6.2%. Let's look at some key non-personnel expenditures. Our software hardware maintenance has increased 62.7% in IT. That's mainly related to the upgrade of the Aumentum tax system platform and the county's new financial system, which did go live on Monday. Our grant awards have increased 28.9%. This is where you'll see that final payout for Exploration Place. And also there is an increase in the amount that's paid to WSU due to the increase in assessed valuation. So anytime our assessed valuation increase, these grant awards will increase as well. And then for medical professional services, those increased 6.6%. That was mainly in corrections, and it was due to a timing issue. They received some invoices later, so they've had to pay out more invoices this year than normal. So turning to our Fire District General Fund, we had an increase in revenues of $0.7 million and an increase in expenditures of $0.2 million. That increase in revenues was due to an increase in assessed valuation of 9.5%. But like the county side, the Commission did decrease the mill levy by 0.883 mills for 2025. The increase in personnel is due to an increase in compensation in 2025, where they received the steps plus a 2% scale adjustment. But in this last quarter, we have started to see a decrease in overtime. Those 6 firefighters they received this year have started working their normal schedules, and that has started to bring down some of their overtime. The decrease in equipment is due to fewer cash-funded vehicles purchased and received for the first 3 quarters this year compared to last year. And that decrease in all other expenditures is due to the station payoff that happened last year. So looking at our county non-property tax supported funds, we do have 31 operating funds not directly supported by property taxes, and that includes federal and state grant awards. So as shown on this chart, our revenues, which is displayed by the green line, increased $30.3 million through the third quarter. This increase is due mostly to revenue received for the state mental health hospital and also those PPS1 Medicaid fees in ComCare. Our expenditures, which are shown on the dark blue line, increased $78.7 million. That's due to a shopping cart being created, which encumbers the funds for the year for our state mental health hospital, which is also funded by ARPA. This slide also shows revenues and expenditures to the third quarter if we excluded COVID funding. So the revenue is represented by that red line, and it increased $11.5 million. and that's due to revenue received for environmentally at-risk testing, as well as that increase in ComCare's billing rate. And then if we took out the COVID expenditures, that final line, those expenses increased $9.5 million. And that's due to the grant award received for environmentally at-risk testing. And also there were some increases for Meals on Wheels and the Department of Aging and Disabilities. So looking at the key revenue for these non-tax funds, that 240% increase in federal revenue state pass-through, that's due to one-time revenue we received from the state in advance of $16 million for construction of the state mental health hospital. There's also a 35.6% increase in state revenue from KDADS. That's also an advance from the state of $5 million for construction. You can also see our ComCare reimbursements, that 24.5% increase. And then in the all other revenue line, state revenue from KDHE increased $3.1 million, primarily due to that environmentally at-risk testing grant funding. So for some of the key expenditures in non-tax funds, for salaries and wages, you'll see a slight decrease. That's mostly due to a decrease in grant funding and some positions that were eliminated and held within the health department. We did have a slight increase in employee benefits due to an increase in health and life insurance premiums. You see the facilities construction increase, that $87.35 million. Again, that's the shopping cart for the state mental health hospital. And then the all other expenditures line, that decrease is mainly due to the $7 million that was transferred in last year as revenue replacement from ARPA. Okay, so now we're going to look at the accounting portion of the report. And this chart illustrates 6 years of historical trends of total fund balances on a GAAP basis. The swings in this chart illustrate our tax collection cycle. So the spikes are showing the revenues when we get the distribution of taxes, and the dips in the chart show how we're spending that down or using those funds. In quarter 3 of 2025, we ended with a general fund balance of $166 million. So we do have a county-imposed policy that requires a minimum unrestricted fund balance of 20% budgeted annual expenditures in the general fund. So in 2025, that 20% amount is $66.6 million. Again, we ended the third quarter at $166 million, so we're well above that policy amount. So the value of our county's investment profile at the end of September was $417 million. Approximately half of that is in marketable securities. The other half is deposited through banks located in Sedgwick County. All of these funds were secured on a competitive basis to ensure a market rate of return to the portfolio. At the end of September 24, that portfolio was only $353 million, and these results were made possible by the hard work of our investment manager, David Floyd, and our deputy CFO, Brent Shelton. They've been strategically using the county's investment policy, and they implemented data-driven liquidity analysis through CashVest to get us to these higher results. So we do have a few capital projects to highlight. For EMS Post 1, this is the one that has occupied a portion of the former Riverside Hospital since 1975 until recently. That building became uninhabitable due to a lack of utilities, so they have been sharing space with another post, and that's created an increase in response times in the area. The county has purchased land and plans to build a new EMS Post 1, and that design work is currently ongoing. The Community Crisis Center expansion project involves design and construction of a new facility to meet the current and future needs of the Community Crisis Center, the Substance Abuse Center of Kansas, and the Sedgwick County Offender Assessment Program. And Icon Structures was just awarded as the general contractor for this project. A couple public works projects, they did provide us with some pictures here. So this first one, R175, this is part of the yearly preventative maintenance program at select locations in Sedgwick County. And this part included approximately 10.5 miles of two-lane roadway. And this was at 95th Street South and Woodlawn by Derby. And finally, B516. The construction of this bridge began on October 27th, and it's located just north of the railroad tracks in the city of Clearwater on Tracy Street. In addition to replacing the reinforced concrete box structure, the approaches will also be realigned to improve sight lines, and this project will take approximately 5 months to complete. So while the county's fiscal condition does remain sound, there's still a lot of uncertainty from pressures outside of the county's control, such as the government shutdown and global geopolitical risks, inflation and interest rates, which have been taken into account in our financial forecasts, and then, of course, state legislative decisions. We also still have some county budget challenges, including meeting community service expectations while staying within the fiscal expectations, the Commission's goal to continue to reduce reliance on property taxes and explore alternative revenue sources, and also opportunities to gain efficiency and improve services through collaboration and shared services. So with that, I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Okay, wonderful report. Thank you. Okay, Commissioners, a lot to chew on here. Questions or comments? Commissioner Meitzner.
Yeah, Lorian, thank you, as always, for this presentation. It's just kind of noteworthy, a little bit of a theme. So going back 2 or 3 years when we've addressed compensation in a number of departments. Thank you, HR and Sheena's staff and all the work we did to do that. A kind of a byproduct, I'm sure we talked about it, but the decrease in overtime would be a result of some of that, and you've referenced that in a couple of departments in your presentation. And I think I recall when we were doing that, it was a lot of leap of faith that we were going to secure vacancies and the repeat, when they quit, and turnover is what I was looking for. So anyway, your reference on some of those departments is very helpful to know that we're achieving what we wanted to target this past few years. So thank you, finance and HR and leadership of Tom and everybody to get us to that point. And so thanks for this presentation.
Yeah, noteworthy. Absolutely. Other questions? Commissioner Howard.
Thank you, Chairman. Hey, thank you for the presentation. You always do a great job. It goes kind of fast. I'm trying to keep up. On slide 5, it talks about the revenues, key revenues and county property tax supported funds. The numbers have gone up. I'm wondering, is it in the I guess I'm surprised by these numbers a little bit. What is it for the second quarter or for the year? Do we have those numbers for the revenue for the year or for the even maybe last quarter? I don't need to bring that book with me, but is it available?
Yes, it is.
How close is it to these numbers for, if you go backwards a little bit, how different is it? Is it significantly different or is it similar?
Is it talking about our forecast to our?
No, going backwards to, let's say, previous quarters. Are these numbers fairly level?
Yes, they do. Yes, I mean they do change based on like the tax distribution cycle and some other factors. But if you look on here, you can see last year compared to this year. And if you're wanting to look at a comparison of just each quarter this year, I can definitely send that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I guess I'm just, and to be clear, the ad valorem taxes, that's $191 million for the third quarter. Is that?
This is all 3 quarters.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Thank you. That helps a lot. And the sales and use taxes. Okay, so there's $30 million for all 3 quarters. That's through a year. Okay, that helps me a lot of times. So what am I misunderstanding what this is talking about here? That helps a lot. Okay, and so if we would extrapolate that out, the forecast, if you add in the fourth quarter, are we going to be over $40 million then in sales and use if I was to extrapolate that out?
I think it's about around 41.
About $41 million. Okay. And again, same thing with the way property taxes flow in. I mean, there's two billing cycles. I don't know if that takes that into account or not, but the December billing would be for the 2026 budget cycle.
Yes.
So. But this is only third quarter, so I guess I'm wondering if there's still some property tax money to collect for 2025's budget year, being the fourth quarter, but it would not be another fourth of this, or otherwise I can't extrapolate that out because of the way the tax money flows in. Correctly?
Correct.
Okay.
We do have in your report, if you start on page 15, it does have the detailed forecast and your year-to-date as well.
All right. I think I understand it pretty well at that point. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify those things. That helps me understand now what this is talking about. Thank you so much.
Okay, question and a comment. Question, slide 13, and I think I asked this maybe every quarterly financial report, or questions about the unrestricted general fund balance. So county policy is 20% of expenditures, budgeted expenditures, correct? So that's about $66 million. What is our unrestricted general fund balance at the end of Q3? It's 50%. So what is that number? Do we have any idea what that number is? And you can email that to me. The bigger question I'm getting at is we're obviously, we don't want to go all the way down to 20%. That is a minimum threshold. What is the calculus in maintaining 50% fund balance? What is the calculus in unrestricted fund balance and in keeping it there?
So, Commissioners, Lindsay Poverso, your CFO, just for clarification on this chart, I'm going to point out the red numbers. So remember, just to Commissioner Howell's point, we are on a tax distribution cycle. That means that we get all of our property tax distributions in the first half of the year, and then we spend it down throughout the whole year. So bear in mind that we still have, based on this, 3 months of activity to perform. And so that's why when we give you an unrestricted general fund number, you typically get that in your audit materials. You can see that behind in the quarterly financial report that Lorian produced for you last week. There's actually a tab that says fund statements, and that will actually show you the general fund current balance, which, yes, is a little bit, it's probably about $130 million right now if we look at unrestricted only. But again, remember, we still have the entire fourth quarter to spend with no new revenue being infused. So we will expect it to get back closer to those red figures by the end of the year. And that's when we look at what's truly available to you all to be spent through the policy that you've set.
Okay, that's helpful. Very good. Appreciate that. And my comment is really, it's slide 17. I always want to make sure that David and Brent understand how valuable the investment income has been to the county here the last few years, particularly. We talk a lot about diversifying revenue sources and lowering the dependence on property tax revenues here. Well, we love to talk about just how the sales tax influences that, and maybe some fees, things like that. But investment income, we have been able to leverage investment income earnings to do some things here that traditionally we would have had to use property tax dollars for. So this is another revenue stream that we're able to use, and it's because of some strategic thought and strategic investment. And I think, again, David and Brent, thank you so much. Lorian, thank you so much for the advice and being able to use this. This lowers dependence on property tax revenue. It really does. So, okay, that was the comment. Commissioner Howe.
Thank you, Chairman. Just, again, some reflection on a exchange we had with Dave Trobert sometime this last year. You know, at some point, that's like they take a snapshot when these numbers are at the highest number, and then they include all kinds of other things that probably shouldn't even be. Yep. This restricted funds for all kinds of things. But anyway, I would like to look at the forecast again, slide 16. If you go to, you know, what will we expect at the end of Q4 in terms of see how those numbers, those red numbers are trending generally downward. The last year we had a slight uptick, shows 42%, 39%, 33, 32, then 34%. If we were to forecast fourth quarter, what would that number be, you think, at the end of this year? Any idea what we're expecting there?
I'm back. So I asked Lorian to move it to one of her very first slides, which is the table that looks like this in your quarterly report. Okay. And this is on page 9.
Thank you.
And so what you'll see here, and the reason I came up, we do expect a slight decrease in fund balance in the general fund at the end of this year. You'll see that we're expecting about a $1.5 million operating deficit in our county general fund. And again, deficits are not bad always. Right. Deficits are bad when it's to fund recurring expenses. But in this case, we know that you had the $3.5 million expense for Exploration Place. We've had a number of other requests that we've come to you for this year that have used up that fund balance. So overall, when we get back to this other slide, what you'll see is actually, pretend that I know how to work a computer. What you'll probably see is actually a greater decrease, even though that deficit is small. Your 2025 general fund budget has increased, and so 20% of that value will equal more that you need to hold back. So I would expect this to actually maybe go down to 33 or 32 by the end of the year, just because of those kind of moving parts of that formula.
And I guess I'll just say, I think that that's one of the most compelling slides. Then we are not overtaxing the people. Our expenditures are again, I would challenge every municipality, every governing organization to look for efficiencies and to root out any waste that might be there. But assuming for just a moment that we are funding the services and things that people desire, we are not overtaxing the people and hoarding lots of cash, as it was. We were accused essentially of hoarding cash and sitting on piles of money, and I just want to say that's really not true. In fact, I think the gap basis chart right before this one is misleading, because you have to understand that's not unrestricted fund balance. That's all kinds of stuff that's tied up in all kinds of planned spending. But the unrestricted fund balance chart, the one that's right after that one, I think is the bigger picture here. That tells us we're not sitting on huge piles of cash. We're just a little bit ahead of that 20% threshold.
Yes.
Which is, I don't want to get down to that 20%.
No. Once we hit 20%, we have to have a plan to restore it, and that's absolutely not anything you all ever would do. And I will point out, to your point, that it was Mr. Trabert who has talked. Page 64 of your quarterly financial report actually shows cash balances across funds, and then it also has that restricted and unrestricted below. So you would be able to speak. You're right. This is going to be the time of the year. The third quarter is almost, the second quarter and third quarter is when you're going to see the biggest cash balances. Then it's going to get even bigger at the end of the year when we go through the ACFR, because we're holding cash, holding the tax money that we then distribute in January to everybody else in the entire county. And so it is a very misleading concept when they start talking about the cash that is in possession of counties, because we are in possession of everyone's for a short time.
Right.
So just so you know, you've got that in there if you need to refer to it.
So I guess I view this as it's a healthy chart. We're taxing kind of like the bottom number, appropriate number to run the government. And again, I know, as I've been working on trying to find efficiencies and work on spending for more than a decade here at this point. And I'm convinced that Sedgwick County is very well run. We are not wasting lots and lots of money anywhere. We are very efficient. I credit our manager and really great staff for a very well-run organization. And this slide tells me we're just have just enough money to stay above that 20%. We're not, there's not a huge pile of money. Of course, that money that is above 20% will be used for the following year's budget. So our budget, our tax rates are exactly where they need to be. And that's my takeaway from this chart. Thank you for allowing me to work my way through that thought. Appreciate it.
That's good. Okay, any other questions, commissioners? Lorian, thank you so much. There's a lot of work that goes into this. We appreciate the updates. Lindsay, thank you. And thanks to the team in finance. Okay, appreciate it. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item F.
Did we need to receive and file that? Thanks, Pete. Yeah. Just moving along, aren't we? Okay, I'll make a motion to receive and file the quarterly financial report. Second. Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Blubow?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Okay, now we're moving on, Madam Clerk.
Item F, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts, regular meeting on October 30, 2025.
There he is, Joe Thomas.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The regular meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts on October 30th results in one of our record 13 items for that meeting. Our first item is the street and drainage improvements to serve Brindley Estates for Public Works. Recommendation to accept the low bid from Pearson Construction, LLC, and that's in the amount of $967,592.20. Item number 2 is to relocate overhead electric lines for Public Works, and that recommendation is to accept the quote from Sedgwick County Electric Cooperative in the amount of $149,868. Item number 3 is the architectural and engineering design for a building automation system replacement at the adult detention facility for project services. This recommendation is to accept the proposal from Schaefer Architecture, doing business as Schaefer Architecture Incorporated, in the amount of $85,000. Item number 4, Learning Library Division of Human Resources would make note of a correction that needs to be made in the table. That rate shown should be per user per year and not per user per month. And with that said, we recommend to accept the quote from Carasoft Technology Corporation utilizing NASPO Value Point Master Agreement AR 2472 connected to the State of Kansas Contract 43262, and that's for a period starting December 22nd, 2025 through January 4th, 2029. Pages sticking together here. Okay. Number 5 is the 2 each current year marked police package Durangos for Fleet Management Sheriff's Office. And this recommendation is to accept the low bid from Parks Motors in the amount of $89,108.80. Item number 6 is a 2025 John Deere 333 P-Tier compact track loader. It has a rock brush grapple. That's for fleet management and public works. This recommendation is to accept the quote from Murphy Tractor and Equipment Company. We'll be utilizing the Sourcewell contract 011723-JDC, and that's in the amount of $116,300. Item number 7, M365 Software as a Service Microsoft licenses for the Division of Information Technology. Recommendation is to accept the quote from ThinkGuard LLC, doing business as VC3. We're utilizing the Interlocal Purchasing System, or the TIPS contract 220105, and that's in the amount of $184,210, which covers a period of 3 years. Item number 8, Juvenile Data Center, UPS Air RM Service for Division of Information Technology. Recommendation is to accept the quote from Vertiv Corporation, and that's in the amount of $50,469.70 for a period of 1 year. Item number 9 is the 911 Data Center, UPS Air RM Service, or that uninterrupted power system for Division of Information Technology. This recommendation is to accept the quote also from Vertiv Corporation, and this is in the amount of $54,106.90, and that covers a period of 1 year. Item number 10 is the Forensic Evidence Software Application for the Sheriff's Office. This recommendation is to accept the quote from Cellbrite Incorporated, and that's in the amount of $56,102.25. Item number 11 is the Public Safety Uniform and Web-Based Ordering System for various departments, and we are recommending to establish a contract with Gulls LLC, and we'll be utilizing the Sourcewell contract 011124-GAL good through March 25th, 2028, with 3 one-year options to renew. Item number 12, the on-call sign language services for various departments. And this recommendation is to accept the proposals from Bocklin Interpreting Services, LLC, Sign Language Interpreting Services, Incorporated, and Trusted Translations, Incorporated, doing business as Trusted Translations. It's at the rates listed for a period of 3 years with 2 one-year options to renew. And the final item is item 13 on auditing services for the Division of Finance. This recommendation is to accept the proposal from Forvis Mazars LLP. It's at the quoted pricing and rates listed, and this will cover fiscal year periods ending December 31st, starting in 2026 through 2029. So I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have and recommend approval.
Okay, Joe. Somebody needs to get Joe a glass of water after that one.
Please.
Bid board was busy, and there goes our fund balance we were just talking about.
It's going.
Kidding. Okay, 13 items. Commissioners, any questions? We've had some discussion on these bid board items, so any questions? Okay, a lot of work was done on this. So, okay, that being said, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendations of the Board of Bids and Contracts. Second. A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner? Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Joe, thanks again. Appreciate all the work.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go consent agenda. After consent, we'll do fire. So let's keep moving forward here. Madam Clerk, next item.
Consent agenda.
Hey, Tom.
Good morning, Chairman of the Commission. Tom Stoles, County Manager's Office. Recommending this morning approval of consent items G through Q. I'd like to pull L and talk about that. So if you would please approve consents C through Q with the exception of L.
Okay, Commissioners, we're going to, as Tom just said, we're going to pull L, discuss that separately. So of the consent agenda items, with the exception of item L, is any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items G through Q with the exception of item L. Second. Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner? Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Tom, item L, what do you think?
Chairman, item L was position reclassifications. There was 3 for Register of Deeds and 1 for the Division of Finance. Of the 4, I'd like to move forward with the Division of Finance, the Finance Business Analyst. That is time sensitive. We need that position on board. I would like to table the Register of Deeds positions until next week. I need to talk to Ms. Buckingham. She's out of town, so when she is back, we'll put this back on the agenda.
Okay. Oh, very good. Okay, so, yeah.
So the motion, recommended motion would be, why don't you
To
repeat
approve the finance position and table the 3 Register of Deeds positions till next
You
week.
want to make a motion, Commissioner
I'll
Meitzner?
make a motion that we do as recommended by the manager.
Justin?
I think that's sufficient. He incorporated Tom's comments. I think that's sufficient, Chairman. As long as there's clarity amongst the board members.
Is there clarity amongst the board of what we're doing here?
I think.
Okay, we have 3 registered deeds reclassifications that we're going to hold off till next week, but we need to move this finance position. So everyone's in agreement. That's what the motion entails. I'll second that motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba? Aye. Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Okay, let's pause the County Commission agenda, and I want to call to order the governing body of Fire District Number 1. And we'll call this meeting to order for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Madam Clerk, first item.
Roll call. Commissioner Buba?
Present.
Commissioner Wise?
Present.
Commissioner Howell?
Present.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Present.
Chairman Beatty?
Present. Next item, please.
Public agenda.
There is no one that has signed up for public comment on the fire agenda, so we'll keep moving. Next item.
Consideration of minutes, item A, fire meeting minutes of October 1st, 2025.
Okay, Commissioners, everyone was present for this meeting. Do we have any questions or comments on these meeting minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the fire meeting minutes of October 1st, 2025.
Second.
A motion, a second. Madam Clerk, call that roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell? Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Next item, please.
New business, item B, charitable donation from the Fetch Foundation to provide pet resuscitation equipment to Sedgwick County Fire District 1.
Okay, looks like Chief Williams is in here, so we get the Fire Marshal. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Chairman Beatty, Commissioners, Manager Stoltz. For the record, Brad Crisp, not Doug Williams, for Fire District Number 1. We were approached several weeks ago by the Fetch Foundation, who is a nonprofit out of Arizona. One of their missions is to provide first responders with pet resuscitation masks, pet resuscitation kits to every fire department across the nation. We've had these kits for many, many years now. They are reusable, but they do, after time, degrade. And the Fetch Foundation, rather, was kind enough to call us up and offer to replace all of our 5 FIDO kits in all 9 fire stations. There's a value there of a little over $1,100. Each one of these kits have resuscitation masks for dogs and cats that we can use when we take them out of a structure fire, and we begin our basic life support and resuscitation efforts on those pets. It's a wonderful organization. It's a great service that we provide. We try to do what we can for people's pets, and I would highly recommend that you not only make a motion to accept the donation, but also acknowledge this donation.
Yeah, fantastic. And we always see from time to time when we see pictures or video of firefighters at a scene, there's times when they have to do life-saving measures on animals, and it's quite moving, really. And so this is a wonderful, wonderful donation from Fetch Foundation. We publicly thank them for their willingness to provide these. And there's 9 of these pet resuscitation kits that's part of this donation. So this is a big deal. People that care deeply about what's happening in our community, particularly with people's pets, that are, it's important to them. And it's important to our firefighters when they walk into the house, anything, they're not only just there to save property and people, they're there to save everything that can't be salvaged, and that includes our pets. So we appreciate our firefighters and appreciate this donation from Fetch Foundation. Okay, Commissioners, any questions? Okay, I'll make a motion to accept and acknowledge and publicly thank the charitable donation from Fetch Foundation of the pet resuscitation kits.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Buba?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Okay, very good. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item C, report of the board and bids and contracts regular meeting on October 30, 2025.
He's back. Joe Thomas.
We believe in spreading the wealth, so.
Yes, sir.
For the record, Joe Thomas, Purchasing Department, and this was the regular meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts on October 30th, and it is for sitting for Fire District number 1, and we have 3 recommendations for you. Our first one is the RAD 57 kits for Fire District number 1, and this recommendation is to accept the quote from Massimo in the amount of $110,540. Item number 2, 2 each current model 4-wheel drive crew cab trucks with toppers. This is the short bed version. The recommendation is to accept the low bid meeting the specifications from Nashville Automotive LLC. They're doing business as Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC in the amount of $124,220. And our final item, which is a current model 4-wheel drive crew cab truck with topper, long bed version. And this recommendation is to accept the low bid meeting the specifications from Nashville Automotive LLC, doing business as Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC. And this one is in the amount of $65,080. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions, and I recommend approval of all 3 items.
Okay, Joe, appreciate that. 3 items here. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm curious on items 2 and 3. Are these very similar trucks? They look like they're basically the same truck, but they're different prices.
There's a difference there.
And
Brian Ritchie with the Fire District. They are similar trucks. There's 2 short beds, 1 long bed. We need one long bed for the equipment that's going to be carried on this truck. It's a training officer's vehicle that carries props, so he needed the additional room in the bed space. Typically, our standard is a 6-foot bed.
well, let's go back to the 2 6-foot beds. Maybe one of you can answer this question. The 2 6-foot bed trucks, these are $62,000 vehicles. It says here the purpose of these vehicles is to perform inspections and other job-related duties, investigate fires within the county, as well as perform inspections. Do we need to have a quad cab $62,000 vehicle to do that?
Good morning, Commissioner Brad Crisp. Commissioner, yes, they, as stated in the bid sheet, they're for investigations, but they're for so much more. Each one of our fire prevention personnel not only performs investigations, they perform public education, they also perform inspection and code enforcement, and each one of those duties requires different types of tools, different types of equipment, different types of items that we carry and haul and move back and forth across 625 25 square miles of the county that we protect. That chassis has been used for as long as I've been here and before. It seems to meet our purposes, and it seems to fit the function of those individuals well. Also remember, one of those individuals' vehicles is also hauling a canine team around and all the equipment associated with that as well. So I would implore you that, yes, that is the type of equipment that we need.
Do you use the 4 seats? There's a quad cab. You have 3 other passengers go with you?
No, we don't always have passengers, Commissioner, but we do carry an awful lot of equipment. Everything from medical equipment to evidence collection equipment to measuring equipment to surveying equipment, our PPE, which is our emergency response equipment. I mean, these gentlemen are responding to emergencies, to inspections, to investigations, to public education requests all across the county, and they carry an incredible amount of stuff. Some of it needs to be in the cab and protected. Some of it could go in the back under a topper, and we try to protect it as best we can while keeping it out of the cab.
Okay, I guess one other question I have is there are some vehicles that are spec'd here that are, do we actually ask specifically for this exact vehicle? Because there's bids on there that are less money. I wonder why we picked, it says low bid, but there's at least a couple of other bids here that are less for what's been quoted here.
Yeah, Captain Ritchie can provide some of that specific information on the bid.
Okay.
The reason we did not pick the lowest bid is just with our past experience of that powertrain and the Dodge product hasn't been real good. We've had numerous problems with that engine package. So that's why we figured long term that the one that we picked would be a better value over the life cycle cost.
Okay, it just says here, lowest bid meeting specifications. I guess, did we specify that we needed this type of vehicle that you're referring to? We specified that we had to have that one?
There was multiple. I mean, Ford could bid this, Chevrolet could bid it, Dodge could have bid it. They could have bid a different engine package, but they did not. So we just know that the engine package that Dodge offered in the lower bid is the ones that we've seen problems with within county vehicles that that's been worked on in our shop.
Okay.
So they weren't. We did not specify a Chevrolet truck. All 3. There's probably 5 or 6 manufacturers that could have bid it. It failed. Only the 3. We only got the 3 bids from 3 different manufacturers.
Okay. And then where is Nashville Automotive LLC? It's out of state, I assume?
I believe it's in Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As far as I know, we've never done business with them or even got a bid from them before, but it's kind of a surprise.
Just so the public knows, there's one bid for $61,000 from Parks Motors, another one for $61,000 from Davis Moore. So yeah, I'm wondering why they bid that if they didn't meet specifications. It just seems a little odd to me.
Yeah, that I can't answer. So.
Okay. How many of these vehicles do we own altogether?
This style of truck?
Yes. I mean, for the purpose of fire investigations, is this the entire fleet, or is this?
No, we have about 8 of these trucks in our total fleet, and they're very similar. And just to expand on, we do this because Chief forgot to mention we also have dog crates that we have to mount inside the rear of the cab to keep the dogs climatically controlled in heat and in winter. So it's part of our requirements for having those animals.
Okay.
So, but it's just been a good fit for our department. It's kind of a one size fits all. I mean, not to say that it's perfect, but it works very well for all of our needs.
How many dogs do we have?
We have 3.
Are they assigned to a particular handler that keeps that?
Each dog has their own handler.
Do these dogs go in any of these 8 vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. There's a few things that don't quite make sense to me here, but I don't think I have time to figure it out. So thank you for your answers.
Thank you.
Commissioner Meitzer?
Well, thank you. And I apologize that I'm kind of dovetailing on what Commissioner Howe has been saying, and I apologize to everybody that we didn't address this maybe in an agenda meeting to get some of these answers. So I appreciate Commissioner Howe. So I'm also was curious about, we all have a favoritism towards local dealers or local suppliers versus out of state and whatever. So I know so you've explained that the Chevy, we're not talking a whole lot of money difference, but we are talking some difference, plus the local purchase versus out of region. So I guess you've explained that the Dodge Rams are not preferred as how the decision made to go with the Chevy.
That is correct.
Is there other Chevy dealers that were local on this product?
Typically, Don Hatton bids our products. For some reason, they bid a Ford product this time and not the Chevrolet. So their reason for not bidding, I don't understand. But in past, they have bid our product. They could have met spec very easily, but chose not to bid.
Okay. Well, just question myself as well. And again, apologies that we didn't deal into this, see this earlier, but 13 items was kind of, maybe we got glossed over a little bit for ourselves. So,
Chairman,
for clarifying.
If I could make a quick point, Justin Wagner, County Councilor, I think just in looking at the bid board minutes on these items, it indicates that there is a 6.6 liter engine specification, I think, on all of these vehicles, just to be a little clearer on that. I think it was a question of whether they did or did not meet the specifications. And I'd like to Joe Thomas, if he'd want to elaborate more on that from the purchasing standpoint.
Okay. Commissioner Howe.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess, Chairman, what bothers me is I think if the specification is tied to something that requires that specification. I mean, most people drive a vehicle, they have no idea what size the engine is. This is a V8 motor versus another V8 motor. They're both, horsepower is probably very similar. I don't know what the differences are exactly. But we shouldn't be specifying the 6.6 liter engine versus a 6.4. That just limits it down to a specific manufacturer, because every manufacturer has a different displacement that they might offer. So if we're going to specify a certain size engine, then it really limits you to almost exactly the model that we're selecting here. I don't know that I would agree with that type of specification. So I would just say this: I'm not ready to vote on the items 2 and 3 here. I'm okay with item 1. And rather than putting you guys on the spot or having this back and forth,
I'm good for answering questions.
I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with, unless there's some urgency here, I don't mind necessarily taking I would feel better if we just took a couple of weeks to chew on this a little bit and come back and maybe consider it at a time when we have some, maybe workshop this for a little bit or something. Just a thought.
Chairman, if I could, Joe, time exigency on cost, how long do these costs last for? Are we okay for a week or two?
Generally for bids, 60 days from the time that the bids are due.
Okay, and what day are we on?
Let's see, this was
Roughly.
back, when did we, this was an early one. It was October 5th. Yeah, so early December is when we'll need to be back to them by.
I'm going to look at Chief Crisp. Is it possible that you could have something as ready for Friday for agenda review and maybe come in and we workshop this very briefly in agenda review on Friday? We'll have all commissioners together and we could put it right back on the agenda next week if all commissions or questions are answered.
Yeah, Manager, if we need to come back on Friday, we can. I think Brian was going to offer some explanation on why the engine displacement was important, if you're willing to hear it, and then we can decide, or you all can decide.
I think that's good. Yeah, I'm reading the notes in regards to the spec was set at a 6.6 liter due to the history. So I think Brian's he's been doing this for a while, so I think I'd be interested to know his perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, after about 40 years, you kind of learn of what to spec, what you don't spec. The reason it said is 6.6 liter, which Dodge could bid, Chevrolet could bid, Ford could bid. 99.9% of the time, you're going to award the bid to one of those 3 manufacturers. having known the problems that we've had with the 6.4 liter, that's why our minimum was set at 6.6. We could set it at 4 liters. But then you open up a whole can of worm for every engine manufacturers, the problems they have. We're not privy to all those issues with the 4 cylinders, the 6 cylinders, but we are privy to the 6.4 liter that we knew Dodge was going to bid, even though it did not meet our minimum spec. So our standard was set at 6.6. If you want to buy the Dodge, buy the Dodge.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. At the end of the day, we'll work on it. It's going to cost you money that you'll never see. If you're looking at one thing, if you're looking at low bid, you're not looking at life cycle costs.
Sure. Yeah, I would say that I trust that wisdom and the history and the experience, and I'm seeing that the RFP went out with the specs and the minimum of specs, so they knew what they were bidding on. And if the opinion of our fire department and our mechanic and the one who's been doing this, I think we trust your wisdom in this. If your opinion is that this county should be purchasing for its fire apparatus a 6.6 liter, and it was bid that way, and you think that there's an advantage and a benefit over life cycle costs, if this is a better product for our fire department, I'm comfortable with that decision. I want to make sure everybody else is comfortable. If there's a more conversation need to happen, but from what you've explained and reading in the notes and understanding, I'm comfortable with the position that this is the type of engine that we think brings the most value long term. I'm comfortable with that, but I want to make sure that everyone else is comfortable with that too. So, Commissioner Meitzer?
Yeah, I kind of agree with I do agree with Mr. Chairman, because we did have I had marked this with questions as well, and Commissioner Howell addressed a lot of them. And your explanation has been good. This has almost served as a workshop right now. We're going through to get the explanation, and so I'm comfortable as well with the recommendation that you want to do.
Okay, Commissioner Bobo.
Thank you, Chairman. My only concern is the out-of-state sourcing on something that can be done locally. I don't know why it wasn't bid on, but in the past on the city council, that sure drew a lot of attention whenever we did outside sourcing, whenever we had someone locally that could have sourced it. And again, I don't know the background information why they didn't submit a bid. I'm just kind of cautious about that.
Joe, that's relevant. Would you be willing to maybe address?
And I want to give kudos to our fleet department, fire district, and all the other departments who work with fleet. We work very hard at saying minimum specification, because sometimes if you have to be very careful we don't get trapped into just saying one model. Yeah. We want all the dealers to have an opportunity, because they're very well sensitive to that, and we are too. So in this case, the 6.4 just didn't meet it. We said a minimum of 6.6 and above, and Ford, Chevy, Dodge, all of those had the opportunity to meet above that minimum. Okay. And we gave them that opportunity. So we didn't lock them in. Understood. And not too sure why some of the other dealers didn't.
Joe, would you be able to address maybe local versus an out-of-state and what that looks like for the county and purchasing?
Yes. So currently we have no local preference policy for Sedgwick County, and that's because of the competitive nature of the bids from charter. Our charter is designed that we look for the competitive solicitation and we get the best pricing for taxpayer spend. And so we don't have a local preference. We do, and I find, and we see that all throughout the state. Like, for instance, you probably have seen us come back with state of Kansas contracts, and it's interesting that on the state of Kansas contracts, or some of our local dealers are on the state of Kansas contracts. So they all appreciate that it's an open market and that they have the opportunity to bid in different markets. And so the same for us. We put the bid out. We've been surprised. Two of the ones that we've seen a lot of lately has been like in Ohio and Pennsylvania. There have been dealers in Nashville. I think this is the first time I think we've seen Nashville come in with a competitive price. So again,
the idea is for the taxpayer.
Yes, sir. For the taxpayer dollars, with the charter is competitive solicitation.
Okay, understood. Appreciate that.
Is there any freight or anything on there, or is it all included in the bid?
It's all delivered.
Okay.
Very, very competitive pricing.
Okay, Commissioner Howell?
Just one other question. Is the 6.6 liter a diesel?
It's 250.
This version is a gasoline engine.
It's gasoline?
Yes.
Okay, I guess another point I would make is, are these vehicles a emergency response? In other words, they have lights and siren and they go 80 miles an hour down the street?
They are marked units that have a
Do they
siren.
typically do a high-speed response to a scene?
I wouldn't say every day, but weekly they do, yes.
Okay, I guess I'm curious about the dependability aspect of this. I mean, if this was an ambulance or a fire truck,
right.
I might, or a police car, or I should say sheriff's vehicle, I might feel differently. But this is it says it's an investigation vehicle, which means I don't know that they would get there as quickly as a first responder necessarily. But these are low points. This is a 13-point vehicle and a 14-point vehicle. And again, the ones we're replacing are 112,000, 116,000 miles. If these trucks can't go 116,000 miles with a 6.4 liter engine, we probably need to rethink this entire thing. The engine reliability is probably not a factor at that number of miles.
It has been with the Dodge product.
Really? So I find that, again, I'm going to research this a little bit, but I just find that to be...
The sheriff's office could answer a lot of those questions.
Okay.
We've seen failures at 60 to 80,000. So...
And again, our fleet does a great job maintaining. They get the regular oil changes. They get all the maintenance you can imagine.
Right.
And these vehicles have a early failure of 80,000 miles. Wow. Okay, that's news to me. But I'm not ready to vote on these two. If you guys feel comfortable, go ahead and moving forward. That's fine. I would like to ask that. We vote on I would support number 1, but I would not be supporting number 2 and 3 at the moment. I might later, but not at the moment today. So thank you.
I have enough information that I would be comfortable. However, I do think it's been standard for this board that if a commissioner is asking for some time to give consideration and we don't have an urgent time, that I think my feel is that I want to honor that request so there's more time. I think what I'm going to get out of the workshop, I think will suffice for me. I think what I've heard today will suffice before. I don't think I need another workshop to work through this. I trust your opinion. I've been doing this for a long time. I trust the opinion. We've hired you for that opinion and to do this work, but I want to make sure that everyone's comfortable with this. And if there is no, and you're confirming to me there's no, we can have this at a future meeting and tackle this. I don't know if we need a workshop, maybe a 2-2-1 even, where we can really hash some of this out, might be helpful. Commissioner, would that be okay?
That'd be fine. And by the way, it'd be nice if we're going to use these types of specs to differentiate these vehicles, then I need to know the specs on all the various options here. I can't tell by looking at this which ones are 6.4 liter, which ones are 6.6 liter, which ones are long beds, I guess the bed length is listed here. At least on some of them it is, but not on all of them. So I guess if we're going to be using that as a criteria, I'd like to see what was asked for in terms of our specifications and what did we receive back in terms of bids on those specifications. If we didn't receive what we asked for, we need to know that. And I would like those specifications to be justified. So I would like to have a 2-2-1's fine, or we can do this on Friday, your choice. But I want to see those details on these various bids here. And
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's reasonable. Tom?
Let me confirm with the chief after the meeting, and we'll either do 2-2-1s or we'll bring this up Friday.
Okay, yeah, okay. Again, I feel comfortable with where it's at. I appreciate the insight and the input, but let's dig in a little deeper. So item 1, 2, and 3, 3 items, we're going to defer. So my motion is that approving item 1 and deferring items 2 and 3 of the bid board.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Blubow?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Next item, please.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, bud.
Consent agenda.
Tom?
Yeah, Commissioners, Tom Stoltz again, County Manager's Office, recommending approval of consent item D on fire agenda.
Okay, Commissioners, this is a similar item to what we had on the County Commission consent agenda, so any questions? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item D.
Second.
Motion, second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Blubow?
Aye.
Commissioner Wise?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner?
Aye.
Chairman Beatty?
Aye. Okay, next item, please.
Other.
Okay, anything under other of the fire district? Okay. Seeing none. Next item.
Executive session.
Okay, we have no executive session for the fire district, so we will officially adjourn the governing body of Fire District Number 1, returning us back to the Board of Sedgwick County Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, next item.
Federal grants discussion.
I don't believe, Tom, we have anything under federal grants today.
Nothing for today, sir.
I think some of the discussion with WIC was kind of satisfied what we needed to know and learn, so we'll keep moving. Next item, please.
Committee reports.
Do we have anything under committee reports? Okay, no committee reports. We keep moving. Next item, please.
Other.
Anything under other?
If I could.
Commissioner Wise, yes.
Yeah, just in case anybody has not driven 29th and 135th, we have added stop signs, so it's now a four-way or all-way stop. We have painted lines as well to help with seeing those new stop signs, and also have a request out to Evergy to analyze the site to see if it's ready for some pole lights. So we'll be working on that end to see what else needs or might need to be happening out there. But just so the public knows, we have an all-way stop at 29th and 135th. Very thankful for our Public Works team to jump on that really quickly. It's an intersection of concern, and we will all be a little bit safer there now. So thank you, and that's all I've got.
Very good. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. Okay, Pete. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Meister.
Yeah, thank you. Just sharing, I think Rusty's not here, but that recall that the House Select Committee on Government Oversight up in Topeka met Monday, and Steve Stonehouse was there representing. This is all related to that community corrections funding that we've been going through and talking about publicly. I was up there as well and testified. Steve did a wonderful job, had many, many questions. Everybody's got their own opinion about maybe what that day looked like. Mine was that it seemed like the whole committee was as confused as we have been trying to understand the funding formula. I think a funding formula, it looks like a funding formula redo will be forthcoming over the next 6 months or so. Maybe they said maybe by summer of next year. And remember, if you recall, we were asking that the Community Corrections Act of 1978 be reviewed as well, audited by outside agencies through the Department of Justice or universities or whatever to kind of bring it up to speed. Secretary Zamuda thought that might be a heavier lift to do, so not sure what all we've accomplished other than it has been paused, and so life goes on in the community corrections world under the existing formula today. So if anybody's interested, it was a public meeting. The whole meeting there was a morning session for about 3 hours plus I was not there at that, and then there was an afternoon session for only about an hour and 15 minutes, of which Stonehouse, myself, and Secretary Zamuda and under his deputy secretary was there. So if anybody's interested, they can get online and look it up. If you have any questions, if anybody cares, they can call any of us and we can send them the link. I know. Thank you. Nicole, our communication department, Nicole, did copy the link to all the commissioners if you wanted to see the testimony and judge for yourself how it went. So I just wanted to report on that. Thank you.
Commissioner, thanks for going up and testifying. Very much appreciate it. I would just say we just finished a general election, municipal election with school board, and there were some school bonds that were on this election for some people in Sedgwick County, and I just want to congratulate our election staff for another wonderful and successful election. They did a great job, had over 101 poll sites on election day, and hundreds of individuals that worked the elections. That is quite a sacrifice, and they do it. It's civic service, and we're grateful that they do it. They come in through advanced early voting, and wonderful job. Laura Rainwater, election commissioner, and her team has done a wonderful job again. So I want to congratulate our elections office. I want to congratulate those that prevailed in the election all across Sedgwick County, and those that stood up to put their name on a ballot. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So appreciate those that are willing to step up and serve and elevate issues in this community. Local government is where services impact you the most. So we're grateful for those that are willing to serve. I would also just acknowledge that we did have a bit of a snafu last night with the Sedgwick County website. All of us heard about it, if those that were at election watch parties or those that have a cell phone and receive text messages from people in the community. Our CIO and the team are still looking into what the actual genesis of that problem was. It's very important to realize that this had nothing to do with the election office. The election office, Laura and her team were administering the election, counting ballots, they were submitting everything. It was just the upload to the website for the public view. That was all that was disrupted. But the actual administration of the election and the software and any of those things had zero to do with the challenges they were having with the website and the viewing of the election results. So there were some questions that were coming my way that people had a misunderstanding that this was an issue with the election office and the administration of the election. I just very clearly that was not the case. The election was continuing on. They were counting. They were submitting. It was just the capacity to view for the public the results on our website, although the media sites were still posting. So I just want to make sure that there's no clarity, there is clarity, no confusion on what was actually the challenge last night on the website. So anyhow, congratulations to our election office. Again, another successful election. They do a wonderful job there. Okay, anything else under other? Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Executive session.
And we have no executive session today. Time is 10:46. We are done with the business of the County Commission. Anything else need to come? Good to go. Okay, everybody, we are officially adjourned. Have a great day.